Oh. There we are. We're back, and let's, without more ado, take just a little look at the drinking tradition in Lewis. We can tipple, all right, but there's a few interesting points about our boozing here that might just fill the bill for what is now 9:35 in the morning. 9:35. It's a lovely day. It's 10. Uh, it looks as if it might reach even 11 degrees today, which is very balmy compared to the very cold weather we've had recently. There's a light breeze, and there's plenty of sunny spells. So not an unpleasant day to get out, not spring, and don't get relaxed because there is some more on the way apparently. But that's the way it is this morning on Mirador Television. Just a couple of things on the headlines. One is that the locally big stores have made recall of various products. We're talking about Amazon and other associated people, particularly the people that do things by remote, the stuff you order on the internet, and also that Rishi Sunak has sacked his party chairman. He's also started to blame Boris for all his ills. The moment they start to run scared like that, they're in trouble. There's no confidence in this government at all. None. In fact, I'm amazed that somebody doesn't start to try to pass a vote of no confidence. They may well get it through. Who knows? Also, there is a threat, a death threat, been made at the most extraordinary level. That is that President Putin is alleged by Boris to have said in a phone call, "You set one foot in Ukraine, and we're going to get you. You are in for assassination, and we can do it very, very swiftly and very effectively." Boris, of course, didn't pay any attention to it. Does that death threat still hold? I don't know. But if, in fact, it is true that it was made, then it steps way out of diplomatic immunity. And Putin deserves all that he may well get now that more tanks, up to 200 tanks, and promise of other firepower, including some jets on the way. That's the way it stands at the moment. Let's now take a look at just the one.
Over the road from the shops, held up by ship's timbers, is the Gardener's Arms. There seems to be a tradition in Lewis, although no one admits to it, of omitting the epithet pub or tavern. This pub is called by locals simply the Gardeners. And the Gardeners it was. The origins of this pub go back to when it was an ordinary house, owned by a gardener. Often, after work, he would invite other gardeners into his front room for a drink. Eventually, it made sense to formalize the ritual, so it turned into a pub. The Gardeners is a true pub. Unusual now, it only serves pork pies and sausage rolls. Yet each year it's in the top tier of finalists for Pub of the Year. Stood proudly on the riverbanks. Harvey's Brewery, the key industry of the town. The bloody high street of a tiny town.
You'd think the old man would give up pubs for Lent or something, wouldn't you? Well, think on. He even gets absorbed in how the pubs were in January's time. Luddite.
Flanked by the church, the rectory, and the people's homes, stands the inn. In its shade and beneath its roof, men of all degrees and of all opinions meet in comradeship and comfort. Walk through any English market town, and you'll find the inn at the center of its life. On market day, the people from the country around meet there to discuss the trend of prices, their children's health, and their home affairs. It's the same in the villages. When the sun warms the earth, they sit outside and watch the world go by. At the English inn today, there is a hospitality that to the host is just as much a sacred charge as it was to the monks and barons in the Middle Ages, who first gave bread and ale to travellers. Often the only sanctuary in out-of-the-way parts, the monasteries had a lodge open to pilgrims and other wayfarers. Later, these lodges became separate establishments and were eventually run as inns, under such signs as the Pilgrim's Inn. One example of monastic origin is the Bull, which gets its name from the papal bull, or bill, not the animal. These inns of England have seen history happen in their yards. Pilgrims and warriors have trodden their stairways. Here, medieval knights refreshed themselves on their journeys to the Crusades, to fight under the banner of St. George. The inns have preserved much of England's architecture. The early inn has preserved some of the finest carvings and treasures. Like the church, it was a sanctuary. Hence, most of these carvings have a religious meaning.
English sparkling wines are beginning to win an enviable reputation across the globe, and that reputation is turning into sales. British supermarket chain Waitrose has reported a 188% increase in sales of English sparkling wine last year, and that trend is expected to continue. The soil and climatic conditions in southern England are remarkably similar to those of the Champagne region in France. So much so that leading French champagne house Taittinger has bought land in Kent and has begun producing English sparkling wine. But the owners of English vineyards are not prepared to take second place. Ridgeview Estate Wines in Ditchling has been producing English sparkling wine since 1994. And recently, the company received the prestigious accolade of having its wine served by the Queen to Chinese Premier Xi Jinping at a state dinner. Ridgeview is a family business which has a strong sense of history when it comes to its products. The vineyard's trademark is Merit, named in honour of Englishman Christopher Merritt. This wine pioneer made a presentation to the Royal Society in London in 1662, explaining the process of making sparkling wines. That was 30 years before the French began producing champagne. Last year, Ridgeview produced a bumper crop and has similar ambitions for this year. The product can be seen at a variety of produce events in the region, notably Brighton and Hove's Food and Drink Fair in May. And the winemaker plans to repeat the success of last year when it introduced its range of sparkling wines to New Yorkers. Want to check out the claims that Ridgeview makes? There are plenty of stockists within the Lewes district. As one might suspect, it's available at Harvey's, but also Larder in Ditchling, Middle Farm on the road to Eastbourne, and of course the English Wine Centre at Drusilla's Roundabout. These successes have created a rush to develop new vineyards in Sussex. Licence applications last year were up by 40%. It's not just sparkling wines that are gaining a reputation. Still wines have also been around a long time. Both are now beginning to take the French market by storm, as demonstrated by the French purchase of acreage in Kent. The key question now is if growth will mean a larger and more expansive English wine industry, or a homegrown luxury product suitable for big and glittering occasions. For the moment, only time will tell. Trevor, where's my drink? Ladder Daniels of South Downs Television at Ridgeview Vineyards, tasting a true competitor of French champagne. So next up on Food Glorious Food, a new way to sell wines in Lewes. Symposium has a friendly, laid-back atmosphere with staff who clearly have a passion for wine. Symposium has a limited range of Sussex wines, but what they have is top draw, and its range of quality grape types is within most budgets. Whether it's the cheese and meat platter, a single malt scotch, crunchy local bread, or a glass or two of decent claret, this wine bar has found a unique way to sell its wines. And in today's world of big is better, the Symposium has found its niche.
Hey guys! In this video I'll show you how to prepare at home an incredible liquor. It's gin. For this you need 1 liter of 50% alcohol, 17 grams of juniper, berries must be native, and I flashed them with rolling pin. Then you need 7 grams of coriander seeds, 2.5 gram of orange peel, 1.5 gram of lemon peel, 1.5 gram of cassia bark, and a pinch of hyssop, a pinch of anise, a pinch of fennel, a pinch of licorice. Fill up the jar with alcohol and all ingredients and shake it. I let it infuse for about 6 days in the dark place, shaking it every day. After 7 days of infusing, it's time to distill it. I gotta use a simple moonshine still. I've dismounted the metal gauze from the shelf better flavoring. By using a gauze, I filter the infusion into the boiler and add water. You need to get a 33% ABV liquor. The smell is incredible. Let's start distilling. I've set up a simple moonshine still, so only the cool box is working. Temperature's rising and I see first drops. I separate about 20 milliliters of 4 shots just for safe. I've set out the range at 1000 watts and start separating of gin. It's already half a liter, so let's check out the smell. It's very fresh. It's like a smell of fur. I've got about 600 milliliters and an alcoholometer reads 42% ABV. Let's stop separating, cause we have tails. ABV of gin is equal to 67%. I stretch it till 45%, leave for 1 week and test it. Let's start testing our homemade gin. It's stretched till 45% and it was infusing for 12 days. First of all, I'll test it in pure form. The aroma is very rich. It has nice, tender and harmonious aroma. The main player in flavor development is juniper. Not strong odor, but it's mild. And the juniper is contrasted with coriander. Let's taste. This also holds true for the taste. Taste is tender and mild. It's not a strong kind of gin. This one is tender and mild. I like it in pure form. So now let's test how tasty it's with tonic. I'll make a classic G&T in the ratio of 1 to 2. Well, let's taste. Delicious. Now I know how I drink it. Incredible combination. You can feel light bitterness, but it's just the right taste. It goes very light. The ratio of 1 to 2 is nice. Tasty. You know you can drink it all cause it's silky and freshalizing. As for me, the combination of this gin with Schweppes tonic is ideal. In conclusion, I'd like to say that I like this recipe very much. The combination of gin and Schweppes tonic is delicious. The taste of G&T is tender and it combines with all the herbs very nice. Just try to make it by yourself, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Thumbs up for new recipes, subscribe to my channel. See ya!
Well, there you are. That's a little run through drinks. Some of it was a little bit dated, but the funny thing is that it stands up over the years. And English wines are still brilliant. The French are buying up land at a great rate of knots because it suits the champagne or sparkling type of wine. And all in all, our drink industry seems to be flourishing. And of course, we mustn't forget that we've got several breweries now in Lewis, the main one still being Harvey's, but there are 2 or 3 more. And the microbrewery is flourishing too. I mean, it's nice to wander through a village like Firle and suddenly come across a little brewery and busy turning out bottles of beer that are available in the local pubs with really flourishing names, wonderful names. And there's a steward just waved through the window. That was what took my mind away. Anyway, we're going to take another break now, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. So until then, a little toodle pip.